I'm tempted to take this thing home, put it in my lake.
Today, our Bassmaster's cameras are focused on a special fishing hole, the $188,000 Alabama Invitational at Lake Eufaula on the Alabama-Georgia border. This 45,000-acre impoundment is pure bass and gold, with numerous recorded hits, the all-time records on the Bassmaster Tournament Trail. 25 years ago, Lake Eufaula was known as Lunkerland, USA, and a daily limit of 15 bass and stringer weights over 75 pounds weren't unusual. Ray Scott, founder of the Bass Angler Sportsman Society, remembers the glory days, as does legendary angler Tom Mann of Eufaula.
I remember the time we had the tournament down there in 1968, I guess it must have been, when they had caught all those big stringers, 98-pound stringers, one-day catches. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a heyday here, Ray. Rip Nunnery from from California. He came out here, and him and Gerald Blanchard got in a honey hole down here at the mouth of White Oak Creek. And Rip had 99 pounds. And his partner had 87 pounds. And it just, oh, it was unreal. One day, the first day now. And did you know either one of them didn't win it? Blake Honeycutt come back in and won it with 139 pounds.
The good old days, they're not forgotten, nor is Lake Eufaula over the Bassin Hill. Lunker largemouths, the pot-bellied Eufaula trademark heavyweights, still make tournament weigh-ins exciting. But just catching a keeper bass now is a challenge. The size limit for largemouth on Lake Eufaula is 16 inches. Now, that's a sizable fish. The average 6-column daily newspaper is 14 inches wide. A bass here has to be at least 2 inches longer to qualify for a trip to the weigh-in. Check in a short fish, and you get slapped with a 1-pound penalty and give up the fish. Oh, and one other thing. If that's not enough, there's a front headed this way. The coldest temperatures of the winter for the Chattahoochee River Valley. Stay tuned. I'm Bob Cobb. The Bassmasters will be right back with the Alabama Invitational from historic Eufaula, Alabama.
Lake Eufaula, Lake Point Resort State Park, Eufaula, Alabama. The $188,000 Bassmaster Alabama Invitational. Midway point in 6 qualifying invitationals for the 1993 Bassmasters Classic World Championship. Over 325 bass fishing professionals casting for fame and fortune on a lake that's known for spotlighting fishing legends. Blake Honeycutt of Hickory, North Carolina, 138 pounds, 6 ounces. The all-time Bassmaster Tournament Trail winning weight. 34 bass weighed in July 10th through 12th, 1969. Rip Nunnery of California, the heaviest one-day catch in BASS history. 15 bass limit, 98 pounds, 15 ounces, July 10th, 1969. But that's angling history. This is 1993, and just weighing in a keeper-size 16-inch bass today is the challenge, as Tim Hamby knows.
Not long enough, guys. Tell you what, I take a keeper a day in this tournament and never leave the dock and get a paycheck. What do y'all think?
Mid-February, the late winter pre-spawn pattern for bass fishing in the South. With normal seasonal water temperatures, bass begin to stage in areas, moving into creeks and backwaters in preparation for the spawning season. Tributaries and bays on the upper end of impoundments usually warm up fastest and trigger pre-spawn activity. Fish move from deeper winter structures into the creeks, along the channel, holding on stump rows, rock piles, or structure on the drop-off. Ron Shuffield of Arkansas, a 4-time winner on the BASS Tour, is fishing a school of bass located on a rock pile near the mouth of a creek. His Carolina-rigged floating plastic lizard is getting strikes. However, only non-keepers are biting. Some tournament anglers would be happy with any bite. A 16-inch size keeper will average nearly 3 pounds, and Here's one that hit a chartreuse crankbait fished by Jeff McGee of Florence, Mississippi, who couldn't buy a big bite in practice.
I tell you, that's the first one I caught in 3 days.
Boating a keeper today is cause for celebration. Normally, a pro basser will not stop casting to accommodate a photographer, but Masaki Shimano of Japan is busting with pride. He's caught 2 weigh-in fish. Well, from what our cameras have seen, it's going to be a short-lived weigh-in. Anyone catching a 7 bass limit today will make the front page. Photo opportunities are slim.
Hold on, Steve. Let me take a picture of them right quick. This may be the Hopsine tournament here where we only caught 2 fish. Let's don't miss a chance to take a picture. Take it quick, you Columbus Inquirers. There you are,
Jeff
folks.
McGee's moment in the spotlight doesn't last. Gary Klein of Texas hits double figures.
13 pounds and 9 ounces. Let's give a nice hand. Bang, bingo. Boom. Let's hold up a couple of diggers. He only has 3 bass, folks, but they're all solid bass. They all go around 4 or 5 pounds. Now, these are just 2 of them.
And speaking of big bags of bass, check this one out, folks.
17 pounds, 5 ounces, Sean Grigsby. Now, folks, I want to show you what a fish looks like. Now, watch it. Roll it now. Watch it slowly. Look, folks, this baby, no question about it, this fish is going to go, how much?
I have no idea. I just know it's big. I've been shaking for the last hour. There you go.
Man, I want to tell you something. Tom, look at this fish. Let's weigh her right quick. We want to get her back. She's full of eggs. It was nice. She's pregnant. Now watch the scale coat. All right, let's make a quick guess.
I don't know. I'd say 9 pounds.
You go close to 10 pounds.
9 pounds and 12 ounces. And the weight, 9 pounds and 13 ounces. Turn them off a little bit. 9 pounds and 12. I was right. Excuse me. The scale was wrong. Let's give him a nice hand, folks. One more picture. One more photograph.
That big bass is worth an instant $1,000 to Shaw Grigsby as the day's big fish winner and gives him a 3-pound, 7-ounce lead in the standings. Zell Rowland of Texas is second, 13 pounds, 14 ounces, with 4 keepers today. And another Texan, Gary Klein, ranks third. Only 168 bass were weighed in, and 0 limits for all 325 fishermen. Tough fishing. But wait, the outlook overnight is for near freezing temperatures. The weatherman is pulling dirty tricks, like Tom Mann remembers about Ray Scott in the old days.
There's a big old log floated up out there on the side of the channel, and I carried him down there, and we caught a boat load out of it. Well, the next day when I got home from work, there was a boat tied up to the log, and I looked out there, and there's old Ray. And he had another fellow with him, and the next day is a different fellow with him, and the next day is a different fellow. They was cleaning that hole out, so I went out there and moved that log. And I drug it 100 yards down. And Ray called me and he said, hey, the fish has left our hole.
That's a keeper, Tom. Stay tuned. The Bassmasters will be right back with Day 2 of the Bassmaster Alabama Invitational from Lake Eufaula.
Yes! Hog, buddy, hog.
Tournament leader Shaw Grigsby is fishing main Lake Creek pockets on Lake Eufaula for pre-spawn bass. His lure presentation is a Carolina-rigged soft plastic lizard. He's using a 1-ounce egg-shaped sinker and floating the lure off the bottom on a 3-foot-long leader line. Shaw is fishing a staging area, trying to target the larger pre-spawn female bass.
What I'm fishing right here is an underwater point, and it's real hard to see because there's a dock built across it, so you wouldn't even think there was a point there. But it comes out underneath the dock and just goes straight across here and ends about where this buoy marker is, and that little buoy marker tells everybody not to run up on it. It also tells me it's a prime place for the fish to hold. And a few years back, about 3 years ago, I fished a tournament here and found a bunch of fish up on this point. So I came back and practiced it the first day of practice, and they had some real nice fish on it. We just drag it slowly down the side of this point. It's got a lot of stumps and trash. And it's really what it is. It's a staging point for fish to pull in here and spawn. So every now and then one will just pull up on it. All right, let me show you what you do.
Real hard and pull. And here he is. And there it is. It's good fish. Good fish. I just hope he's 16. He's probably 15 and a half. Come on, puppy. Come on.
That's what I'm talking about. Stay down. Stay down, stay down, stay down, stay down, stay down, stay down. Oh. Oh, I tell you what. All right, turn. No. One more time. And
We have keeper. Yes. Hog, buddy, hog.
Gary Klein in third place is fishing the main river channel way up the lake.
This river temperature is 50 to 51 degrees, and I can't really say they're too far along into their spawning ritual. They're probably still a month away from really spawning heavily. All I've been doing in the last couple of days is just throwing a half-ounce jig on 30-pound test line, and I'm fishing in the real strong current. All the fish that I've caught have came from where the current is at its strongest point. I think the fish right now are just very inactive. They're not even really thinking about spawning. They're still sitting on the main river channel itself. They haven't moved into the pockets.
Zell Rowland's up the Chattahoochee River too, but drifting downstream with the current. He's making quick pitches with a brown crawfish-colored jig in the riverbank cover. Working upstream against the current for Gary Klein is a bit like trout fishing. The bass are holding on the downstream edge of the structure in the current breaks. Spotted bass favor this swift water environment. There's a good population of spotted bass and a species of shoal bass in the upper river. If you catch one over the 16-inch tournament size limit, you're almost in the trophy class. Gary's boated a chunky spotted bass, and it's long enough. A solid 3-pounder. Shaw Grigsby's partner, Jim Akins of Missouri, is 1 pound in the hole. He checked in one fish yesterday, but it was short and brought a penalty. The net, a -1 pound.
It might make 16, but it's a good fish. Take your time with him. Oh, yeah, that's a good keep. That's a keeper, isn't it? No, don't lose him. God, me. That's a good fish. A keeper. You're out of the hole.
Gary Klein's hooked another scrappy spotted bass, but won't have the opportunity to measure this one. And at the Day 2 weigh-in, it's apparent this Lake Eufaula tournament is going to be decided by catches from upriver.
Look at the creel, folks. Watch the scale. 18 pounds, 13 ounces. There's your leader, folks. Let's reach in, if you would, Zell, and hold a couple of these big ones up. Folks, these are incredible bass, and this is a product of a great man's handiwork. Big pot belly, look like a deputy sheriff. Both of them do.
Gary Klein, who's fishing the same upriver area as Zell, challenges the leader.
4 bass. Look out, the lead may start to change, folks. This is a fine bunch of fish. I want you to watch them as they go to the scales. $12 pounds, 13, hold it. 12, 13, 12 pounds, 13 ounces. Check them and send them home.
Zell Rowland still on top by 6 pounds, 5 ounces over Gary Klein. But here's a new threat.
22 pounds, 9 ounces, 22.10 it is. Folks, this is incredible. Isn't that something? 22 pounds and 10 ounces. Let me look at those other fish just a second.
Today I had 6 bites and caught all of them. It's a real slow pattern, but when you get a bite, it's a big fish. And yesterday, they just didn't bite the bait just right.
I think it's a possibility that they'll be doing better tomorrow than they did today.
Well, I hope so. If we can keep the bright blue skies, it'll help it, I think.
Why is that?
Well, I'll tell you that tomorrow, but...
I can't even get a weather report.
Stay tuned. The Bassmasters will be right back with final action in the $188,000 Bassmaster Alabama Invitational from Lake Eufaula.
There you go. Way to go, Pop.
Bob Hamilton is fishing upriver on Lake Eufaula. But unlike tournament leader Zell Rowland and challenger Gary Klein, Hamilton is flipping a jig in a backwater area about a mile off the main river channel.
I don't think he'll keep. That's the first short fish I've caught up here this week.
How did Hamilton key in on this backwater area?
I saw it on the map and came up here. It's what we've got, these pockets all face to the north, and it's kind of blocked from the north wind, so they usually are a little bit warmer than the rest of the pockets. And I was looking for an area that had a lot of spawning, you know, flat, shallow water. Big one.
And Hamilton's partner, Joe Yates of Arkansas, is glad to be on board this morning. He hasn't weighed in a keeper bass yet, but that's fixing to change.
Got it. There you go. Way to go, partner.
The conditions have changed really a lot from yesterday. The river is down about 8 to 10 inches. The current is quite a bit slower today. And I was really thinking that that was going to help the fishing. I caught 2 fish, 2 nice keepers right off the bat about the first hour this morning, and I haven't had another strike yet.
Bob Hamilton has boated 2 keepers today. What's his secret?
And what I'm doing basically is just keeping the jig moving, shaking it all the time, but actually not moving it very far. Just almost keeping it in one spot and shaking it. The fish are kind of sluggish and they're not moving to chase the bait, so if you get it in front of him and shake it, you know, a lot of times he'll go ahead and bite it. But the fish are really extremely sluggish right now. The water's cooling off. You know, every day it's getting colder, and they're just not going to move very far to get a bait.
Well over 2,500 fishing fans turn out for the final weigh-in. Bob Hamilton is first among the leaders to the scales.
And the weight. 7 pounds, 6 ounces, and that will put him up there. Now, Bob Cobb, that puts you in #1 position. If Zell Rowland blows it, you got a chance to take it home again.
Ray, we really went out this morning expecting to catch a lot of fish. I went up to my best water today, and the water had fell about 8 inches. And I was only fishing about 2 feet deep, and the fish kind of backed out, so we had to change and go to new water today. And
Zell Rowland fires blanks today. Bob Hamilton takes the lead. But don't count the $35,000 winner's share just yet.
He needs 7 pounds and 15 ounces, folks, to take the lead. 7:15. Watch the scale careful. 12 pounds, 8 ounces, folks. There's your leader right there, and maybe your winner, Gary Klein, from 3rd place. Pull 2 of them out. Oh, what's it? No. Waited.
Ray, my strategy never changed at all during the tournament. I basically threw 2, well, matter of fact, I did. I threw 2 lures the entire time, and I never changed. I threw a 1/2 ounce Stanley viper shaft spinnerbait. I caught my biggest fish the first day on it, about a 5.5 pounder. And then, folks, I caught every fish. I only caught 10 anyhow. The other 9 fish I caught using 30-pound test trilene, fluorescent line, and a 1/2 ounce Denny Brower rattleback jig brown. And I was fishing way up the river. I wasn't fishing for a lot of strikes, but I was just fishing for the quality strikes. And folks, today I only had 4 bites, and 3 of them were keepers.
The final standings. Gary Klein, the champion, with a 3-day creel of 38 pounds, 14 ounces. Bob Hamilton finishes second with 34 pounds, 4 ounces. And Zell Rowland is third.
I would like to dedicate this tournament to a dear friend of all of us, Roy Ridgell. And ever since Roy Ridgell passed away, in my heart, I really felt I needed to win an event and just dedicate it to him. And Roy, you know, this tournament was for you, from all of us, from everybody.
Has the fish in the fish been pretty aggressive?
No.
Right now, it's time for the Pros Pointer, the how-to section of the Bassmasters. Brought to you by Wrangler, the most comfortable jeans known to man.
This is the jig that I used at the BASS tournament to win. But let me show you the little trick that I was using. I take a little chartreuse body insert is what I call it. It's just a little piece of plastic. It could be a piece of a grub or a piece of a real bright chartreuse worm. Slide it up onto the shank of the hook and give your jig some body. In other words, when a jig hits the bottom, all the rubber stands off, but when you pull it into a branch, it flares. Well, when it flares now, they see the chartreuse body. And folks, that has really, really been a big asset for me over the years. And I really think that it was what really enabled me to get the 10 bites that I had on the jig. And every fish hit the jig, when it hit the bottom, lift up, the fish already had it. So I know that that chartreuse was triggering some of the strikes.
A great comeback win for Gary Klein, his 6th on the Bassmaster Tournament Trail, and you can bet it won't be his last. He's a true champion. And you can bet the bass fishing will come back on Lake Eufaula just as soon as the weather improves. Be here in mid-March. The big bass are awesome. Next week, we'll follow the pros to Lake Seminole, Georgia, on this same Chattahoochee River for the Bassmaster BP Top 100. Join us. There's some exciting pre-spawn action and big bass. For the Bassmasters, I'm Bob Cobb. We'll see you all next week.
Maybe your winner, Gary Klein.